In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Adobe Illustrator to create a simple face drawing similar to these examples. First, go to File, New, and in the window that pops open, choose Web, Minimum. Title this Face Number 1 and put your name on it. Then click Create. The first thing that I'm going to do is set up my colors. I'm going to go to Window, Swatches, and the default swatch is open. To get more options, click this side menu, choose Open Swatch Library, and we're going to choose Skin Tones. And I'm going to make some with realistic skin tones and some with fantasy skin tones. So I'll open that side menu again, go to Open Swatch Library, and choose Color Properties. You'll see a long list of different panels here. Open up a few of them and choose one that you like. I'm going to choose Desaturated. I'm going to take this tab and click it and drag it so that it becomes part of this panel, so that I have all of my swatches together in one spot. Now over here in my fill and stroke area, I'm going to click to bring the stroke forward and set it to none. Then I'm going to click to bring the fill back forward again. Next, I'm going to choose a medium skin tone, so I'll choose this one right here. I'm going to use keyboard shortcuts to select the rectangle tool, so that's M on the keyboard. Now that I have the rectangle tool selected, I'm simply going to click and drag out the shape of the face. Click on this little circle in the corner and drag to the center, and you can make that an oval. Next, I'm going to draw the eyes. Click L on the keyboard to switch to the ellipse tool. Hold down Shift while you drag to constrain that to a circle. That looks about the right size. For now, I'm going to leave this brown. I'll change it to white in a minute. Next on the keyboard, go to Control-C to copy, or Command-C on a Mac, and then Control-F to paste in front, or Command-F on a Mac. So what I have now is two copies of this circle right on top of each other. I'm going to change the top circle to black by clicking on my black swatch. Now I'm going to shrink this to be the pupil. Using the keyboard shortcut V, I get the Direct Selection tool. Hold down Shift and Alt on the keyboard and click to drag to make the pupil. Next, I'm going to make the eyebrow. I'm going to use the rounded rectangle, which doesn't have a keyboard shortcut, so I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Go over here, click and hold on the shape tools, and choose the rounded rectangle. Now I'll click and drag a rectangle, and while I'm still drawing this, I'm going to hold down the space bar and move this around, and I think that looks good. Okay, now I'm going to use the arrow keys to scoot that over just a little bit and scoot it down a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and change the eyeball to white. So click V on the keyboard to get the selection tool. Click that and choose white. Now with the selection tool, I'm going to drag a box around all of those to select them. Now hover the cursor over these objects, right click, go to Transform, Reflect, and I'm going to reflect this 90 degrees vertical, and if I click Preview, I can see a preview of what that's going to look like. Now I will click Copy. Now I will simply drag this over, and while I'm dragging, I'm going to hold down Shift because that will constrain it so that it doesn't move up or down. It's directly across from the other eye. There we go. Now I'm going to click and drag a box around all of those things, and I'm going to right click and group these objects together. That way, when I click on one of them, they all select, and I don't have to select them all individually. Now I'm going to click and drag to move these down, and I can see my alignment points, the little magenta line. If I'm over this way, I can see it's off, but I can see when it's centered because that little line lights up. All right, there we go. The next thing that I'm going to do is add a nose. So I still have the rounded rectangle tool selected. So, oh no I don't. So I'll go ahead and click that. And I'm going to click and drag out a rounded rectangle right here. And I will change it to a slightly darker skin tone. There we go. And I am going to use the keyboard shortcut Control-C to copy, or Command-C on a Mac, and then Control-F to paste in front, or Command-F on a Mac. Now to rotate that, I'm going to click V on the keyboard to switch to the selection tool, then hover the cursor around the corner and simply start clicking and dragging when you get the rotation arrow. Now to make it go in increments of 15%, you can hold down the Shift key and then you'll get it to a just the right angle. All right, now with the arrow keys on the keyboard, I'm going to move that down a little bit. I'll hold down Shift and select both of the objects and right click and then group them together. Now with my arrow keys, actually with my mouse, I think I'm just going to drag these until I can tell that they're in the center. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is draw the mouth. So with keyboard shortcuts, I'm going to click L, which selects the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag out a circle, and I'm going to convert this into the mouth. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go down here to my fill and stroke and use this swapping arrow to change that. So now the stroke has the color and the fill is none. But it's a little tiny stroke. So I'm going to go to Window, Stroke, and change it. I'll try 18. So I want to get the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow, and the keyboard shortcut for that is A. So I will draw a box around this top anchor point and hit delete. Now I'm going to draw a box around this side anchor point and hit delete. Next, I'm going to open this side menu to show options and turn the caps from straight ends to curved ends. So to do that, I'll just click this second option over, which is rounded caps. That looks a lot better for a smile. So now I'm going to convert that path in that stroke. I'm going to outline it. So Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. There we go. Now I'll click V on the keyboard to select the selection tool, and then hover the cursor around the outside edge until it turns into the rotation tool, and then start clicking and dragging. And if you hold down Shift, it constrains it. And I'll move this over until I get the intersect lines. There we go. Now the last thing that I'm going to draw is the ears. So on the keyboard, I will choose L, which is the ellipse tool. I'll hold down Shift and click and drag out an ear. Then I will Control-C on the keyboard, which is copy, or Command-C on a Mac, and then Control-F, which is paste in front, or Command-F on a Mac. And I'm going to get the selection tool, which is V, and then hold down Shift and Alt on the keyboard and drag the interior of the ear to be a little smaller. I'm going to leave that the dark color, but I'm going to select the back circle and change that to the lighter color. Now I'm going to draw a selection box around both of those and then use my mouse to move those over, or the arrow keys on the keyboard. And a simple way to make these go to the back is to right click, go to Arrange, and Send to Back. Now that these are both still selected, I'm going to hold down Alt on the keyboard and click and drag a copy. And if I hold down Shift while I'm doing that, they will stay aligned. And there is the other ear. So this is my first face. I'll put that up here in the corner. So what I would like for you to do next is use the skills that you just learned to draw a few more faces and use different colors. And you can change perhaps the size of the ear or the way the nose looks, the color of the eyebrows, make the mouth a little different, whatever little variations you would like to do. Here are some examples. Make sure that you save your changes and then turn this in so that you get credit. That's it for this video.